The format goes like this. Starts off with the doubles, and then after that we've got a singles match, and if we need a third to decide which team will ultimately win 2 matches, we go to the deciding match, but only if necessary.
And once again, at least on paper, it's the doubles that could be the most exciting and also the decisive match.
It is often a big tell, and it's quite unpredictable because unlike the head-to-head, I should say, there's more mystery involved because a lot to be said for how the players work together.
And this is also the match where the Germans were the closest to actually winning the whole thing in Rio.
And here the Germans are. It's Thomas Schmidberger on the left and Thomas Brüchle on the right. Both stars in their own right. Brüchle, 45 years old on the right. He's world ranked number 4. And Thomas Schmidberger, at 29 years old, is world ranked number 2, silver medalist here, and really a star throughout the sport.
And together, the first ranked team in this competition.
Hey now. So Brüchle, not only a teacher and a role model to many, but a spectacular player with feeling, touch, and creativity. But on the other side, here is Team China with Panfeng, 31 years old, world ranked number 1, and Xiang, 28-year-old, who's very strong. So this makes up the team, loving them in front of that digital Team China flag.
Yeah, Zhao, the third player, who, as we know now, won't be starting in this match, though. The third player is only allowed to substitute one of the first 2 seeded for the doubles, but the Chinese decided not to go for that option.
This might sound funny to say, but in terms of watching them roll in for the table, they're just so smooth and in sync. There's something really, I don't know, smooth about their entrance. Literally and figuratively, I don't know. I'm excited for a very interesting battle here between the top players in the world.
No doubt it will be once again, and it's Schmidberger especially, who has some catching up to do, has some unresolved issues with the Chinese, if we can call it that.
Yeah, I mean, a Game 5 silver medal after a very tight battle in singles for the gold.
Yeah, won't face Feng Panfeng today, but it's still a chance to finally take a gold.
That is true. So doubles will start, and again, more upsets and possibilities for that. Now, in terms of the rules, first of all, if you're newer to the Paralympic Games in table tennis, there are 11 classes, and the lower the number, the greater the impairment. So class 11, intellectual impairment, 6 through 10 standing categories, and 1 through 5 seated, meaning the players are in wheelchairs. Class number 3, the most populated and popular events for players, right in the middle of the pack in terms of mobility and balance and whatnot. I'm actually sitting next to a Class 3 3-time Paralympian right now.
Yeah, this is the class that I know best. Of course, I never competed against men, but practiced with them a lot. And this is the best of them, 21 players in this men's class 3 in the singles event. So it is the strongest class in para table tennis in the world.
So starting normally in a singles match, for wheelchair players, the serve must come off the back of the table. If it stays on the table, comes to rest on the table, or comes off the side of the table, it would be a lead. But in doubles, that is not the case. Now, unlike in the Olympics, in doubles, these players do not have to alternate shots. They simply have to keep their wheelchairs on one half of the table. They can't cross the middle line. Now, their bodies can. They can reach across the table, no problem, but the chair itself cannot, which is much like an extension of the body. for a lot of the players because they spend a good portion of their lives in these wheelchairs. So you'll see a lot of stickers of identity, patriotism, or maybe some really cool interplanetary wheels showing the cosmos from Brüchle.
Yeah, he's a teacher, so that shouldn't be too much of a surprise.
Do you think he does astronomy?
I don't know. I think since he teaches in primary school, he probably does
linear
more than just
algebra.
one subject.
Right. Heavy spin on this side. You're going to see different surfaces here. China got through USA in the quarterfinals 2-0 and then 2-0 in the semifinals against Thailand. You've got the pips on the red side of the racket there. The player, well, it looks like both sides with the pips on the backhand. Now on the German side, if I'm not mistaken, it is smooth and inverted rubber on both sides.
Yeah, both players use those. So a bit of a difference in terms of the rubbers as well on both teams.
And this is Jegor Joba from Canada. I did not practice that name for 30 minutes before this.
And I'll say this one since it's from Slovenia. I'm proud to present her Milana Karmel.
Awesome, I'd practiced that one too, but you are a natural.
I am a native.
Right, I knew it started with an NAT, I just wasn't sure about the last few letters. So they don't have to alternate shots, but they will only, the order of play that is set is the server and the receiver. Every game, the team that is serving gets to choose who serves, and then who receives will be determined after the first game. So games are played to 11 points ever since the year 2001. And you alternate serves every 2 points. And to win the game, you must win by 2 points. So first team to win 3 games wins the match. And in the overall team match, the first team to win 2 matches wins the gold medal. There it is, Zhongguo Dui, Zhai, Chinese team, go for it. Oh, what a cover here, a counter so quick. Power shot and Brüchle, the wall, that's why they call him the wall.
And a clear tactic of searching for that middle between the two players, as well as returning more balls to the clearly weaker of this double, Zhai.
That right there, Feng Panfeng, world #1. So good start here for the Germans on the receive. Good placement onto the elbow, getting Schmidberger to turn, lean out of the way to create space for the forehand. Now that is interesting. When you've got a team with world #1 on one side, you are able to play every shot back to the player who is not world #1 to avoid the threat.
But this setting is a bit more challenging for the Germans since it allows Feng to reach more across the table.
When he's on the receiving side of the table? Or serving, for example, this position. Hand switch, gets the racket on it. I've seen him do that successfully and continue the rally. It's clever and it's very quick thinking.
And this was the right shot attempted.
An apology for the net there, but good move to follow up that short serve by moving in towards the net.
Yeah, and cleverly planned from the very serve on both of them. And that's why also the players would signal to their teammate what they plan to serve or even discuss with them. Fell asleep a little bit at the wheel, we could say, Schmidberger here.
Oh, he did, I see. I was going to say, I was watching everything just wondering what was going to happen next and when the big explosive shots would come out of the bits of side spin in the push game.
It's difficult sometimes to keep concentration when the opponents are only returning the ball to your team partner. And I think that's what happened in the previous point.
This was very keen once again from Brüchle on top of the bounce to play it early on the rise. Well, tactically, there's no question where the Germans are looking to go after the serve, who they're looking to pressure. But I'd say that Xiang is doing his job of keeping it in play, keeping it low.
This is the challenge because it can happen quite a lot that the weaker of the players in singles is not necessarily the worst in the double pairing.
Now, just a reminder, the difference between inverted rubber and the pips, the longer pips not only slow the ball down, but reverse the spin. So if you hit heavy topspin into long pips, it typically comes back heavy underspin, which means you push it back unless it's high enough to go for the kill. So narrowing the gap here, 1 point down now, China with the second serve. And good follow-up attack for the third ball right down the middle of the table. Feng strong on this one. And again, it's the pips, so it's flat and it's very tough to control on the way back. But this one falls just short after quite a fascinating rally.
Yeah, patient, secure play by Zhai. Just bringing everything back to the table. And yeah, that's where even if the tactic is to play to the weaker player, just once in a while you have to mix it up a little bit.
I think Mr. Brüchle in class is going to be Mr. Wall by all of his students who must be watching right now. Really, no matter how hard the ball comes in, he's just chilling, just cool with the racket up to block it back.
Yeah, very casually looking style of play.
It's the coolest.
But that can bring a lot of softness and spin into hit the balls.
Perfect placement down the middle here. 2 points ago, the thing that I thought was so spectacular was when Feng dropped the ball, but Zhai took a big swing just right behind him. It was very trippy to look at. It almost looked like it could have been coordinated, but now we've got 2 game points for the Germans.
Perfect down the middle, always searching for that ground.
So you got Valentin Baus in the crowd, the gold medalist with the rest of the German contingent here. And Germany goes up 1-0 over China. A long road ahead, but a solid start for the underdogs. We'll see what happens. Germany versus China. Game number 2 coming right up. Players back to the table for game 2. Germany off to a strong start. We'll start with the serves here. Professor Brüchle. I think that's just for college, so maybe Mr. Brüchle. Just feels weird to say that because it could be so vague, you know?
Well, but perhaps at the table tennis table, he could be Professor Brüchle.
Could be. Professor Wall.
Let one lock.
Perfect placement into the body.
Right there between the elbow and the shoulder.
Now for Professor Wall, normally he's got the touch, the calm, cool style. Good pressure from the other side. That was right at the baseline of the table. The defense so solid.
Yeah, and here Brüchle was deep into onto Schmidberger's side.
For me, it's tough to tell where Brüchle is going to go. He doesn't have as big of a stroke, so there's less sort of predictability on the shot.
Another advantage of his loose style.
Yeah. We got Professor Wall, Captain Casual, Captain Cosmos.
I think we'll have to come up with some nicknames for the others as well.
Right down the line, the parallel here from Schmidberger. I like the smile. Brüchle acknowledging good shots from the opponents, and then it turns to a smile for a bit. Looks over to sort of acknowledge the opponent's excellence. But a bit of a different reaction here. Again, as a team player, sometimes you feel a great sense of responsibility when you miss a shot that you know you're capable of.
Yeah, the serve is a tough one to lose points on.
I guess 2 rackets going for it is much better than none.
Yeah, and in this case, it even probably confused the opponent because they weren't exactly sure which racket the ball bounced off and which direction it will go. Oh.
Almost gets the recovery here. Now here's a question. I'm assuming it's legal because it'd be like a double contact in one motion with one player. But what if they both hit the ball at the same time? No problem?
I think it would be difficult to do that.
I've seen more amazing and crazy things happen, but yeah, it does seem like it would be pretty rare. It'd have to be quite well synchronized. Pretty great coincidence. I'll get the left half of the ball, you get the right. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Brüchle recognized right away that Schmidberger had a little bit of room for that backswing on it. Seemed like he was a little bit deep behind the table on it, though. 1 point game, second serve here with the Chinese pair. It's always tough when you get someone way behind the table. Remember, the other player has to keep his wheelchair on his side of the table, so you leave yourself quite exposed on that wide forehand shot.
Once again, the elbow shoulder area. And sitting like this at the table, it's even more difficult to move your body away enough to make that kind of shot. Worked this time, though.
Yeah, I think this time you got a big full stroke there from Schmidberger, and it comes back, because it's heavy topspin, it comes back heavy underspin, and Brüchle had to deal with the residual spin from Schmidberger's loop.
The Chinese need to deal with his dead look.
Yeah, that's right. The if looks could kill stare. You don't want to be on the other side of the table from that. This one gets away. I mean, not an easy shot. I think it was right for Brüchle to go for it. You've seen him make, say, lower percentage shots than that throughout this match. Game point now to Team China. Zhai Xiang with the second serve.
Expertly covered by Schmidberger while Brüchle was getting back into his position.
Hey, you mind covering my shift for a minute? I got to take care of something away from the table. No, very, very good teamwork there. So now deuce, they will alternate serves until one pair has a 2-point lead and takes the game. Steady hands, Brüchle with every, I'd say, change of rotation in this, just changing up the spin, comfortably bringing it back into play with good positioning.
Yeah, doesn't know what to do when the ball is going directly into that area. He missed it twice with the forehand, so he tried a backhand now.
Nice change of pace from under the table. Both Schmidberger and Brüchle have been very controlled. I think more than any other pair I've seen, they play the soft spin shots from under the table. Game point once again to the Germans. Very good defense by the Chinese pair. They withstood a lot of good attacks here. I mean, it never really felt like the Germans had a put-away shot. They were looking for an attempt there with the side spin, but Zhai Xiang controlling it, guiding it back low to the net.
I think Schmidberger doesn't usually play so far away from the table either in singles, so this is a little bit of a different position. Same problem as Schmidberger.
So now the game point in favor of Team China. Feng with the serve. That ball is loaded with spin, but it's not how much spin is on it. It's how difficult it is to read. When you're a teacher, you do a lot of reading. So, Professor Wall out here with the perfect touch shot. Slow and spinny, an awkward shot. Their change of pace has been very effective, the Germans.
Some support from their team, the extended one.
And it finally pays off, changes it up, and goes to the other side. Brüchle, a bag full of surprises, defense, offense, and a 2-game lead now. Germany just 1 game away from getting their first match over China in what could be the decisive factor in who will win the overall team matchup. Stay right here, game number 3 coming right up. Some highlights of exciting moments for the German pair, up 2-0, but you can never count out the Chinese duo on the other side. They are strong, well-prepared, nerves of steel, and undying efforts here. We will see if Panfeng and Xiang can come back from down 0-2. It is must win for every single game for these men right here from here on out in this match. Feng to start with the serves. Every shot in that rally, something a bit different. 2 different side spins and a top spin wide. A little bit off the top of the net right back. Some instant table tennis karma. Big shot here. The first time we've seen a rip like that taken from Schmidberger in a while.
And his club coach, Hannes Düsseler here.
The finger up, the acknowledgement. Do you think that was for Schmidberger from Brüchle?
Yeah, kind of a sorry to him. My bad, if you want.
Yeah, I think Brüchle is just so classy. That's got to be the word. He's the politest person. Top edge of the racket here, and that one sails. Scoreline right now, China doing what they need to do. Brüchle looking to turn it around.
Yeah, clear tactic by the Chinese now to return most of the balls to Brüchle.
The It's a little interesting to me simply because other than that big shot that Schmidberger had, I mean, I didn't see much imbalance in terms of who was winning points on the German side.
That was too perfectly set up, and then even with a touch of the net. Way too long for a loop in a double match.
Now just to clarify for those of you at home, a lob, a very high shot, we often call a tetra if it'll come back over the net, and a loop, a heavy topspin shot, sort of like a drive but a little slower. The Chinese pair exactly where they want to be scoreboard-wise, a 5-point lead now. What do you think needs to change on the German side?
Yeah, it is actually Brüchle who's making most of the mistakes, to be honest. So we'll just have to be more careful. Yeah, and this is it. One player playing for 99% of the rally, and then Schmidberger just falling asleep. That's the only way to call it.
In all fairness, statistically, I mean, if he's playing 99% of the shots, he's going to make 99% of the mistakes and win 99% of the points as well. I mean, he's basically...
Yeah, just some confusion about the...
Be mature.
Serve to receive combination in this game.
Schmidberger saying the evidence, I have received 2 balls, therefore he would be the next server, but still a bit confused on the specifics of what was said in relevance to what just happened. But it is now 7 game points for China to extend this match. Tries to return the favor after the big spin shot from Schmidberger. Blocked back into play, and then Feng gets his turn from the backhand corner. And the Chinese pair take the game 11-4, so China gets a game on the scoreboard, and Germany still up 2-1. But we'll see if it goes to a decider or if the Germans take it in game number 4. Game number 4 coming right up. Players back for game 4. The crowd really into this one on both sides. Chinese fans, German fans. It's nice to have a bit of atmosphere here.
Yeah, at least this is the end stage of the competition, so the rest of your team will have time to support you. And the Germans as well as the Chinese have a strong squad here.
Strongest squad on the table, Brüchle and Schmidberger for Germany. The Chinese pair as well. Again, how many times now gold medalists back-to-back?
Back-to-back, I think just 2 times now, these two.
So China looking for a third consecutive gold medal in teams. It's a Zhai Brüchle party here on the parallel. Schmidberger and Feng just waiting to see if they'd be needed.
Both reaching for that middle ground.
So what would you recommend to the German pair right now to keep the Chinese a bit off the table or out of game 5?
I suppose at some point Brüchle will have to get either more aggressive or play more to the corners of the table, because this middle one, he's the one who has to defend all the time, and Schmidberger only receives the attacks. It's not working well for the two.
Good defense here from Professor Wall as he finds the baseline edge. Brüchle on the receive.
Yeah, this was it. Feng just moved from the middle to the deeper backhand, let's call it, and confused Brüchle right away.
Yeah, it's been tough to pinpoint a place where he's uncomfortable, but jamming him up in that deep backhand corner, now it's Zhai on the receive. Good shallow shot to test the reach. Outstanding touch play from the Chinese pair. Zhai soft just behind the net, leaves that one shallow. You've talked about how difficult it is in terms of balance to get in sometimes when it's far away.
Yeah, and in doubles, these two tend to sit a bit more far away from the table to begin with. So it can be a tricky thing to attack on some shorter shots. Getting away from the Germans this fourth game.
I mean, right now they can't find an answer. The first two games, very tight, but everything was working. Now it seems like the quality control of every shot from the Chinese pair, they're just not letting anything slip through.
Looking a bit nervous too, the Germans.
There it is, a bit of side and top spin. Maybe just straight side spin. Either way, a tomahawk smash. Not an easy ball to play, but as the players are both in wheelchairs, their center of gravity is lower, their racket is naturally lower. And a short serve here. Remember, in doubles, the serve can go off the side of the table. So clever play to change it up in the service game. Still 4 points down the German pair. China just 2 more points to get into game 5. Step behind the table, we can say. Trying to go down the middle, but it is China with 5 game points. Feng with his second serve here for the game. but a bit ambitious, and this one goes just long. Game point saved. Germany, 4 more points to save if they want to stop this from going to the decider. You think that was the sleeper trick where they try to just play to one player until they put the other one to sleep?
It was just so few energy in these returns in the middle from Schmidberger that Feng got out short.
And there it is, the Chinese pair take it 11-7. So from down 0-2, the momentum has completely shifted here. And the team to beat will be the Chinese pairing of Panfeng and Xiang. The decider, game number 5, coming right up. It feels like we're in a different stadium now as we come back for game 5. And it's the German fans that are more vocal right now.
Strong support for the pair. The Rio scenario has to be playing in their heads now, where they lost in the final after leading in the doubles.
Oh, Feng with a nice recovery off the top of the net. But a last moment effort there from behind the body.
Yeah.
It's a never give up spirit. Ball still in play, there's still a chance.
Every point counts.
And a net recovery from Zhai. I love that Brüchle remembers that about 5 shots later in the point, still acknowledges that. So good start for the Germans after being controlled quite well, getting half of the points that their opponents got in the last 2 games. This is big. This
Very
is the
well played, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like this is the start to maybe getting away, and a timeout is called. It seems wise. Remember, when they get to 5 points, they will switch sides of the table and the order of play, who receives from the server. 11-4 in game 3 for China, 11-7 in the last game, but this is a real turnaround. I don't know, I think with Brüchle and Schmidberger, there's a calm about them right now where they don't seem to be as stressed. They seem to be comfortable keeping the ball in play until they find the opportunity, but mixing up the depth of their pushes, mixing up the placement a bit, and they're creating more opportunities, it seems.
Yeah, that middle to middle or 2 against Brüchle tactics wasn't really working for them, but if they're the one mixing that up more in terms of the spins as well as positions, it's more difficult also for the Chinese pair to only receive to one, return to one spot all the time.
So a quick point right out of the timeout for the Chinese pair. I mean, like a glove, this one worked perfectly. Nice power from the full stroke Schmidberger forehand.
And a look to their fans.
In the very beginning of the game, a lead can feel dominant 3-0, but it's really just the difference of 3 points. In the 11-point game, the tides can change quickly.
Well meant, just a little bit over the table.
You think they're afraid of the Schmidberger forehand? It's part of the reason they want to keep the ball away from that big stroke.
Yeah, and in this setup, he's in position to use that forehand. So far, he's also being clever about it and not going for the big kill all the time to open the racket.
So 4 of the last 5 points have gone to the Chinese pair. They've come back. The timeout has been very effective so far.
Just goes to show that a 3-point advantage at the beginning of the game doesn't mean anything.
And that shot from Feng was just too strong. Watch him attack. A little break off the net. That was some serious power. And now the timeout on the German side as well. So those are the lifelines. No more timeouts, just this one here. So they will switch sides of the table. They will switch order of receiver. I feel like we haven't seen too much defensive play in terms of short wide. I guess because in doubles, you've got the space more well covered as opposed to in singles where it's just one of you and the reach is quite limited here.
Definitely, but that still would require the player to move across the table more and possibly bring them out of balance. It is a difficult thing to do, though, when you're playing against those pimpled rubbers.
5-4.
So the pips there on the backhand sides, the red sides of the Chinese racket, tacky rubbers on the forehands, very spinny. And the streak continuing, the Chinese pair not fazed by the timeout. Just too much power. Beautiful turn here. Panfeng with the forehand. And now a 3-point lead. The Chinese pair down 0-3 and comes back to where they are now. It's been a little while, but Schmidberger waking up the other side with a backhand punch.
Yeah, this is the time to put the pressure back on.
And Feng calling for the serve that he thinks will be most effective.
That is another way to go, since it's often the team partner the one who has to deal with the receive coming from the opponent's side.
Little fortune off the net, but down the line, back and forth. For the Chinese pair, they are staying away, or at least Germany is staying away from Feng's powerful shots in that rally. And they're still keeping it away. They're playing keep away right now. They just won't let him touch it. I mean, Feng is strong. He's world #1. I think that one shot that was just unreturnable from him made them realize they can't. And now what they're going to do is they're getting him to come across the middle line and try to step in front to insert himself from time to time. Zhai keeps the ball in play quite well. He's steady, but the threat is way different. The greater threat with Feng, and now it's tied up at 8 points apiece in the decider. Great use of side spin here. Schmidberger getting the energy back, the expression that we saw earlier in the tournament from him. Nice lift of the racket just to change up the rotation.
And also clever placement since they're bringing it on Zhai's side just enough for Feng wanting to insert himself in the rally.
So second serve here and a big one for the Chinese pair. Chance to tie it up. A little bit off the top of the net, but a big point, and Germany now has 2 match points to pull off a very big upset, which could change the future, and the outcome of this overall team match could determine who takes the gold here in Tokyo 2020. Just long down the middle, 1 match point saved for Team China and 1 more to go.
Given away much too easy.
There's a lot of pressure in terms of who's waiting on the other side. The spin does it, the heavy forehand topspin, and Schmidberger fired up. That is not at the opponents, that is to the crowd. Tough to tell. I just imagine at this point that that energy was cheering with his team, the contingent in the crowd. What a finish here, a nail-biting finish really, by 2 points in game number 5. Schmidberger and Brüchle are able to capture the first match. This makes things very interesting because what it means is the favorites, who we'd expect to be the favorite in every matchup, have to win the next 2, and Germany only needs 1 of the next 2 to take the gold.
Yeah, we'll see Feng face Brüchle now in the next one, and is of course expected to win, so it might come down to Schmidberger then to bring it home for Germany.
So a 47-minute match in a best of 5, a marathon match, 48 to 52. The Germans were outscored by the Chinese by 4 points, yet they took the match. So timing is everything, and points, while every point counts in some senses, It's just the first pair to win 3 games. You've got the next match on screen. Professor Wall, Thomas Brüchle. And on the other side of the table, the world #1, Feng Panfeng. That match coming right up. Stay right here.
One single, or possibly 2 singles to come. The next one is Feng Panfeng from China, and Thomas Brüchle from Germany. And if that is won by the Chinese, then it will go to a final match where the Germany will be Thomas Schmidberger against Zhai Xiang. So let's take a look at this next match. Feng Panfeng, current world and Paralympic champion, dominated the class for 13 years, winning his first Paralympics in Beijing 2008. He followed this up with London 2012, Rio 2016, and winning here. Of course, he's got the unique title of 4 times Paralympic champion. Well, the same applies to World Championships, another title held consistently since 2010. He collects titles and gold medals for fun, as he also surpassed all opposition in the Asian Championships and Asian Para Games, picking up no less than 18 gold medals since 2005 in singles and teams. He's age 31, and in class 3 he's world ranked #1.
いやー、ダブルス初戦から激闘でしたドイツ対中国の一戦ですが、今日は5試合とも決勝戦に中国登場していますが、初めて、1つ落としたということになりますね。そんなドイツ対中国行われてますが、次の試合はシングルスになります。まずは中華人民共和国フェン・パンフェン選手、31歳ナンバー1選手です。ほとんどの試合で頂点を極めています。この東京でも取りましたので4大会連続。
And Professor Wall is back. What a gentleman. When given the choice, he says, after you, sir, by all means, your choice. And there they are, our home and maybe future homes. We shall see.
Quite a task in front of him.
Creating homes on other planets?
No, but Feng seems to be from another planet in terms of men's class 3 players.
Indeed. Wonder if he could point at his home on one of the wheels from Professor Wall on the other side. Thomas Brüchle, 45 years old, world rank #4, going up against the 31-year-old world rank #1 in his 4th Paralympic appearance. He's so fast, playing against a very different style, a very casual style. So while Brüchle has the power when he needs it, he's going to have to deal with a lot of heat coming in.
Yeah, we can see the difference here in Brüchle hardly moving the arm and Feng going for the full swings.
そして2014年の世界選手権団体で取ってます。17年のチーム戦でも勝っています。個人で見ても2019年。
This is one of my favorite things about table tennis, that creativity is so heavily rewarded. It's just encouraged to the point that, I mean, you've seen some of the most technically sound players in the world beaten time and time again by players that can mix in side spin or defense or change the pace. A real thinker's game, and spin is such a major factor. Again, if you've never played with a professional racket, you must try it. A game changer indeed, and after that wide coverage of the forehand, a tomahawk smash, Brüchle takes the first point. Good spin to the short side of the table, but Feng showing his comfort there in the control. Also his anticipation. He was well in position to bring him right back, to force him to balance and get up quickly.
Yeah, but great to reach from Brüchle rather than throwing himself onto the table and trying to pick up the ball right away.
How good was that tetra?
For a class 3 player, very good.
Just a reminder, that's a shot we see a lot more in classes 1 and 2. He's just such a positive guy. I mean, when he loses the point, there's this look of, bravo, sir, well played. He doesn't take credit from his opponents, always acknowledges excellence. Oh, speaking of excellence, quick rally. Those short casual strokes are good for a lot of things. Surprises, but also being efficient. He recovers very quickly.
Very quiet in the arena now after all the excitement during the doubles.
Well, I think the German team knew how much they were needed there. That's what makes people love to cheer the most, right? When they feel that their team needs them. Oh, that tetra just perfect again. He's got to keep some part of his either thighs or bottom in contact with the seat.
And still we saw Feng was almost there, so it has to be perfect if it wants to be out of his reach.
Yeah, Feng looks like he's got a pretty serious and significant wingspan. Long torso, good reach.
Some frustration in the wall's expression.
Two quick snappy backhands, one and he's always back and ready. The reaction time in this point is just shocking. Wow. Placement with all the topspin coming in. Brüchle taking the topspin off and converting it to side spin. Watch this, tomahawk chop, and it bends.
And again, the beauty of this is how easy, how smooth, how casual it all looks.
Brüchle says, little help please, it's in a pretty uncomfortable place. For a moment I thought maybe he thought it was long, but then I realized what was being said. Feng with a quality serve, crossing the body there, that tomahawk to make it start on one side and move out to the forehand. Leaves it near the back edge of the table, inviting the attack, but by the time he gets to it, it's under the table. That's an outstanding shot. Now, just a reminder for context, we are at 9-all in game number 1, and head-to-head, Professor Wall, Thomas Brüchle has played 9 times and not won one of them against Feng Panfeng.
He's still away from his first win.
Dangerously close, battling a lot more, I'd say uncomfortably close for the world number 1 here on screen, Feng Panfeng, who now has game point on his second serve. Quick off the bounce, Brüchle saves game point, so here we are, deuce in game number 1. Nice counter, very smooth, just recognized that there was an opening. The ball was a little shallow, so he takes it right off the bounce. Watch where this one bounces. Not much backswing there.
Just so quickly changed the direction.
Nice counter. The quick spin shot comes in. It's so impressive because he's still recovering. Feng has to pull himself back off the table after his follow-through from such a big forehand. A little bit off the top of the net, but it is game point for the underdog, Professor Wall. And he calibrates this time from under the table. He lifts it up, arcs it over, and spins it from way wide. Control, touch, feeling. Professor Wall's got it all, and he got game one as well. A 1-0 lead against world number one. Again, this is very unlikely based on their history. With only 10% of the games they've ever played. Out of 30 games, he's only won 3. So 1 on the board. We'll see what happens. Has he made world number one angry? Stay right here to find out. And the players are back for game number 2. Thomas Brüchle leading 1-0 here on the receive. Fast with the pips, little rotation. Feng on the scoreboard with a bit of momentum here to take back what he lost in game 1. It's not really how it works, but he got the first point. Much quicker play, taking it earlier here, putting the pressure on, forcing Brüchle to be more on the defensive and cover the corners. But Brüchle doesn't like it. He says, no, you can't come into my house and push me around. I'll attack you right back. I see your attack and I raise you my attack. Oh, that Tetra is going to be tough to put down. Backs away from the table after good coverage. Some surprise placement coming in, and he got his racket up for both of them.
A nice opportunity for Brüchle to show some good table tennis after his disappointment in the singles.
Courtesy of Jensen van Emberg, United States, at only 21 years old. But yes, that disappointment, he was still the most classy player in his loss, Brüchle. Cracking forehand from the middle. Feng turns on that ball and puts it just out of reach wide, cross court. That one is just as fast as the one before that he saw from his opponent. I mean, he keeps mirroring what he's seeing. Takes a little bit longer in this. 2 shots, has to attack it twice. Good defense from Feng. He's really got him twisting and turning from the middle now.
Much better for Feng in this second game, re-establishing his dominance.
It's a beautiful touch shot there, just behind the net, side spin to keep it out of reach. Brüchle knows right away he's got to get a move on, and he starts, but not enough time. Perfect placement. So now 8 game points, a score line that might have been more what you would have expected based on their head-to-head. But this is just to get back into the match. Brüchle shaking, staying loose. And loose he was. Just 1 game point save, still a long way to go, but confident casual play. And Tetra falls short. Game goes to Feng, 11-3. Quite a statement after what happened in game number 1. We'll see if this continues or if Brüchle finds a new curriculum for the class here and starts this 3rd game off with a very different set of homework. We shall find out. Game 3 coming right up. Players back for game 3. Brüchle pumping some energy into the chest here, trying to get that adrenaline going after last game, which was taken 11-3. So good start here. A little bit of a momentum breaker after that dominant performance by Panfeng.
Yeah, Brüchle fought really well in the first game, and he sure didn't want to come back to an even score so fast. Oof,
Did you see what he did?
That would have been some shot.
Would have been out of this world. It would have been like the wheels on Brüchle's wheelchair, but check this out. Watch him blow at the ball. That's hilarious. Watch him blow.
Yeah, but here you can see this is this is a class 3 player. He got the shot, but no chance of picking himself up again without the aid of the arms afterwards.
Although had it come down on the other side, I don't think Brüchle would have had a chance to reach it.
No, but the other thing is that, mostly when you go for a shot like this, you have the table to fall on, and here he was away from it.
Perfect angle here. Thumbs up indeed. The Brüchle seal of approval. I just don't want to let it go unnoticed. Did you see Brüchle blowing at the ball?
Yeah.
That was my favorite part, saying this could determine if the ball comes down on my side or my opponent's side. I think he was being funny in that moment.
Yeah, that was a bit of a joke.
Keeping his sense of humor throughout these tense moments, not easy to do, but that's, I think, what keeps him calm and cool. He's just very hyper-aware, really sharp mentally.
Yeah, it's also a trait of personality. Some players need to keep deep concentration. Others need to pump themselves up with fiery reaction. Third ones just need to stay relaxed no matter what happens.
Well, dead even here at the first towel break as Paparazzi shoots off. It is 3 points apiece. Perfect angle here, pumps himself up this time. Now, even individuals have different modes that they find work best for them in different situations, but pounding his chest, he's getting pumped indeed. A 1-point lead for Professor Wall of Germany, Brüchle. The energy's changed quite a bit.
Very well done.
Is that Hannes Düsseler?
Yeah.
Slow and spinny, shallow on the table. Look at him now. Who's this guy?
It is all working again. No doubt frustrated with himself after game 2.
A timeout on the Chinese side. I think he's transformed. He's put on his superhero suit. He's turned from Captain Calm to Professor Pumped. Pumped Professor Wall, maybe.
Superhero with many nicknames.
Yeah, I feel like we could have a few different comic books made. I hope his students take it upon themselves to make comic books about him, and that his wheelchair has all of the cosmos and superpowers as well. So the last at least 3 points in a row for Brüchle. Feng was unstoppable in last game. I mean, he got almost 4 times the point, nearly 80% of the points available after 14 points had been played. Interesting. When you go to being that pumped up and seeing your opponent as well, we'll see how the personalities settle out here. Very different. He just sort of looks at the opponent, nods his head, rolls away to get the ball. Remember, Germany is leading 1-0 in matches right now. This is a very unlikely upset, but it could win the gold. And it's looking more and more likely all the time. Remember, every match is best of 5, so the players each need 3 games to take the match. But a major advantage taking this 3rd game. Good leaning shot here. Very out of position, but commits to this ball. I guess no other choice really after the placement of this shot from Brüchle. Could have played more cautiously, but I don't think it would have been to his favor.
Yeah, and when you get a chance like that, you just have to take it.
No timeout called just yet.
Oh yeah, but it is, I think.
And by that I mean, give me 2 seconds and timeout will be called. How's your German?
Normally quite great. It's just that I can't really hear what they're saying here. No mics on the coaches and the players. Perhaps we'll have to change that for the next broadcasts.
I was going to say, how's your German lip reading, but at this point, 26, 25. Probably not how you say 26 and 25 in German.
No.
Yeah, good times, good times.
25 and 26, if you're asking.
No, good to know, good to know. That could come in useful.
Yeah, well, hopefully not in this game.
Right, oh my goodness, can you imagine? Both players now back from their timeouts. No more timeouts left in the match. They hadn't set the scoreboard straight yet.
I think that was tactics that was suggested to Brüchle, but it really backfired. That's why the frustrated look to the bench.
I didn't want to do that, but you told me to. Wait a minute, wasn't it 8-all? I agree, it was 8-7 at the timeout. 8 points apiece.
Yeah, 7-8 timeout. 8-8. Yeah.
Thomas Brüchle, perfect. Fair play, he says 8-8. Perfect English, too, from Feng. I mean, he just completely, calmly said exactly what he needed to say in English. I noticed in the middle, the point was interesting, but I was looking at the scoreboard saying 8-6 and thinking, wait a minute. They had a lot to think about. 6 points in a row for world number 1, Feng Panfeng. And now 2 game points of his own. And that is a very impressive comeback, but it's going to be tough to swallow on Professor Wall's side. Brüchle, from 8-4 up, was outplayed throughout. The timeout tactic did not work. So we shall see a 2-1 lead Feng in the lead. Game number 4 coming right up. Players back for game 4. Brüchle with an uphill battle now. Feng with the momentum. No timeouts left. Doesn't miss by a lot.
A big chance missed by him in this game 2. A 3, excuse me. Game 2 went by so fast. I've almost forgotten about it.
I think Brüchle probably did as well, strategically.
Or would want to.
Right.
Has everything going for him now. And no more timeouts, so Brüchle will be on his own.
It's a very ambitious touch receive attempted there, trying to take all the pace off it, cut it short.
Yeah, but possibly he's thinking at this point is I'll try anything.
Yeah. Well, he's definitely going to have to try something, take some risks, and he gets quite aggressive in that last point, and it pays off. A long way to go, though. This ratio will not get him the match. 1 point to his opponent's 5. Turns up the heat a bit, and 2 quick points in a row. A bit of aggression to go with this touch game.
Trying to move Feng from one corner to the other.
It's interesting, but it just shows or goes to show you how far he will go to express his fortune. He says sorry, even though we lost the point, just for making it off the net. Saying I should have looped it there. Interestingly enough, had I not been looking at him, I don't know, it sounded almost like he said I should have killed it. Meaning, don't play afraid, don't be too cautious.
Oh, that was a rally.
Yeah, this is more than hypnotic. It's just unbelievable that they can both deliver the shots. Brüchle says, thumbs up, give me a break here. Catching a breathla after that. Think about the shots off the pips, how fast Feng could play with those pips on the backhand side. And Brüchle got them all back for a while.
Yeah, and how quickly he must change between top spin and back spin shots.
But he keeps this one right at the baseline. It's going to be very difficult for Brüchle to find the opening attacks. Look how fast these are. That really was the best opportunity he had for a decent attack in that rally. So can he pull off the comeback that happened to him in the last game? Well, a big forehand shot like this sure couldn't hurt. It gets one on the scoreboard, and it's a small step in the right direction for a long journey.
He'll give it a try, that's for sure.
One thing we can always count on. But good placement, too deep to that backhand corner while Brüchle is recovering. Doesn't miss
too
by
good.
a lot. But yeah, that reach, his wingspan, I mean, he's really quick to get in. So 5 match points for Feng. Still alive, still fighting out here. Brüchle saves another, well, saves a game point, but 4 more to go for Feng.
Parts of those rallies looking like a warm-up across the table.
And as soon as it looks like it's too strong, Brüchle's right there for every counter. I mean, as a commentator, you're thinking about what you would say if it's the end of the match sometimes, but Brüchle's not letting it happen. Not yet. 3 match points left for Feng. What focus on the reach, on the lean from off the side of the table. Wouldn't it be nice to have a timeout now if you're on the Chinese side? Full extension, uses the table to get himself up just as little as he can, but as much as he has to. 3rd towel break. Smart time to take that moment, towel off. Maybe think about what you want to do, what's been working for you. 4th match point for Feng to send this to the deciding 3rd match. Remember, Germany up in matches, so China needs this to survive. The Tetra stays so close. The jaws of defeat. Right there, he flirted with disaster, and it was just out of reach. We've talked about the reach of Feng, and still, what a gutsy shot under pressure. Goes for broke, and it pays off. Brüchle now 1 more to go. 9 serving 10. And there it is, Feng 11-9 in the 4th. What a spectacular match, an outstanding performance from world number 1. Look at the look. I think Brüchle says, man, you were amazing. And Feng was saying, give me a minute to catch my breath here. I am so nervous right now and thrilled that I escaped with that victory. You can only imagine the amount of stress and pressure building for the world number 1, knowing what's to come next. I mean, if he goes to game 5, there is no next if he loses this match.
Yeah, China's still not out of the woods in this match. The hardest part still to come now. Thomas Schmidberger for Zhai, and
People's Republic of China won, Germany won.
It was Feng's to win if he wanted to even give his teammate a chance.
Well, that last game was really a spectacular comeback from what, down 5-10 for Brüchle. 29-stroke rally throughout this. I mean, he looked unstoppable with those 5 match points saved, or 4 in a row. And now it'll be one final match. It'll be Xiang of China versus Thomas Schmidberger of Germany. This should be fascinating. You don't want to miss it. It will determine who gets the gold medal. Stay right here.
Men's singles class 3, 28 years old, world ranked number 5.
さあいよいよ最終の試合になります中華人民共和国からはジャイ・シャン選手です。団体では4つのタイトル獲得に貢献しています。2019年にはアジア選手権で個人で銀メダルも獲得、18年には世界選手権で銅メダルも取っています。この東京でもシングルス銅メダルの獲得しています。現在28歳、ランキング5位、ジャイ・シャン選手です。
Thomas Schmidberger, representing Germany, Paralympic silver medalist here in Tokyo and also in Rio with bronze in London. He also has 3 world silver medals from 2010.
Welcome back to the men's team Class 3 gold medal match. It is the final match of the overall team matchup. Thomas Schmidberger of Germany on the near side of the screen. And at the top of the screen, Xiang, 28-year-old, world rank number 6 for China. Now this is very rare to say, but at this point, Germany would be the favorite to take gold.
Yeah, great chances for Germany to finally get to that gold that escaped them in the last two actually Paralympic games.
Now why I say this, or why we say this, so Thomas Schmidberger, world rank number 2, his opponent world rank number 6. Now world rankings are not always super telling because participation is a big factor, and sometimes for Team China, the team runs really deep and certain players don't get as much experience. But if you're playing the Paralympic Games, you are one of the chosen few to represent the nation. Head-to-head, Thomas Schmidberger is 5-1. He's won just over 83% of the matches he's played against this opponent. Although game-wise, 16-7, so it's a little bit closer than the matches would appear.
Yeah, but another thing to be said is that Feng is actually the only player Thomas Schmidberger has lost to in the last few years in men's class 3. But the pressure is now on him to take this home.
So we'll see if Xiang can pull off the upset, or if Thomas Schmidberger can clean it up. He is in the cleanup spot, put in this position for this reason. It was counting on the German team to win the doubles, which was not easy. We didn't even know if we'd get to see this match. I mean, what was it, 11-9 in the 5th for the doubles?
Yeah, it was really, really close. And nice that we have this tight, close, thrilling match here to end our final session on table 6 today.
It's funny, there's so many different sports that I feel like table tennis combines the feelings of. Talked about boxing in many ways in terms of positioning, in terms of defense to offense, catching your opponent off balance, tiring them out, tiring out the legs, or in this case, the upper body and the movement and recovery. But I feel like as a team's event, this is a bit of a relay race. The baton has been passed to this man right here. Panfeng passed it along to Xiang and said, it's your turn, take it home for the long stretch. We'll see who crosses the line. It's a best of 5 match. First player to win 3 games takes the gold for their team. Games to 11 must win by 2. Schmidberger on the receive. Xiang to start. Love all. So Schmidberger with the first point on the receive. Strong start to break service. Good use of side and underspin here. I think side spin can be a little bit uncomfortable for the opponent.
Schmidberger is the master of side spins in class 3, and he's using both rubbers inverted. So he'll have more chances for that than his opponent with the pimpled rubber on the backhand.
Right, if you're newer to table tennis, I'll tell you about that rubber in a moment. Oh, that is too good. Just turns, pumps the fist like a model. Did you see that? Just posed. Someone could screenshot that and make that an Instagram profile pic.
I think he'll be more than satisfied with a picture of a gold medal around his neck if he pulls this match off.
Seems like a classy, common, I'd say popular choice. That pose, though, is becoming so iconic. Just the turn of the head into the bicep there on the left. Good pressure off the bounce, those quick combinations with the spin shots. With the apology, acknowledging the top of the net there, the fortune. Now, the way the scoreline's going right now, I imagine there will be a lot of conversation, a lot of tactical changes in the corner for Team China. Chueawong, indeed, a beautiful shot. He moves in towards the net, uses that wingspan for the reach. Wheels in as much as he can to get under the table. Schmidberger up on one wheel, almost blocks it back.
This one was heading nicely towards the corner, just a little bit long.
Oh, nothing he can do there. That is the demonstration of where the body stops supporting you if you don't have the table to pull yourself back up. Maybe you could speak to that a little bit.
Yeah, that's. I remember one time doing that in training. I was so used to falling on the table always after reaching for the short shots. And at some point I didn't have the table under me anymore, and I just landed on the floor. So Schmidberger got off fine in this one, but yeah, no chance to get back in time for the next.
Good reach once again. Zhai with the long arms and the good movement in near the net. If he waits for that ball to come up off the bounce, it just bends further out of reach. The side spin would have made it really tough. Well, look at the scoreline change. It felt like it was something like 9-1. Do you remember seeing that score on screen?
No, but it all looked way too easy for Schmidberger. Yeah, he was waiting now for a short return. But finally he has to work for those points.
Yeah, not looking so easy anymore. 4 game points for Schmidberger to take the first game. A good underspin comes in. He's eating his own underspin after that long spin into the backhand.
Yeah, he wanted to go down the line with this top spin.
And there it is. Schmidberger takes the first. He needs 3 games to win the gold. It wasn't as easy as it looked. The start of this was very one-sided, but Zhai woke up a bit and definitely changed up the game plan. We'll see what happens with Zhai Xiang and Thomas Schmidberger. Game 2 coming right up. Players back for game 2. We talked a little bit about the difference in surfaces, but I'd like to elaborate. On the backhand side, those bumps that look like Legos, we call pips or pimples. They're typically more defensive. They slow the ball down a bit. They don't spin the ball as much, and the longer they are, the more defensive they are.
We lost the ball, it seems. Coming right up.
Is it the ball or the ball picker?
Yeah, the ball picker.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, I assume they have many balls here if they need them. Schmidberger to start game 2, leading 1-0 in games. This one comes just long, comes off the table.
Quick discussion with the coach.
Love 1.
I think there's something else going on. I don't know what the conversation is. Do you have any clue?
No, I couldn't make that out. Too bad.
Yeah, that one sat up a bit high for Zhai off the top of the net. Service warning. Ah, he was holding the ball inside the table on the service toss.
Oh, what movement that was. Some really, really difficult shots to take. Schmidberger started this whole thing. Backfired for him in the end. Yeah, this is Schmidberger's signature shot with the backhand.
It's very Krianga-like with the full arm finish. But scoreboard, I mean, this is the opposite of the scoreboard from game 1.
Yeah, but we could see in the second half of the first game already that this is not going to be easy for Schmidberger, despite the better record.
First point on the scoreboard, a long way to go, but I think 1-6 we saw the other way. And near a comeback, at least for a while, a bit of streak from his opponent. To the parallel, the short side of the table. Clever little flick there from Schmidberger.
Yeah, because he brought himself into trouble a couple of times trying to shorten to Zhai's forehand side. He expected this one to be a winner and was just a tiny too slow.
It looked like it could have been the way he hit it. I mean, he put so much into that shot. Good angle here.
That's the one.
That's what a winner looks like when it goes wide. The opponent with the highest left wheel we've seen. Watch how high Zhai's wheel comes up.
Because this is kind of far onto the forehand side of Schmidberger, but he takes it with the backhand and does across the table from that side.
It is very deceptive.
It's Schmidberger now making a comeback.
These guys are like mirror imaging the games. Can we nominate this point right now for point of the match?
I think of this entire tournament, perhaps.
That was incredible. Zhai's defense was nearly unstoppable, and then he got the attack, and Schmidberger brings it back down the middle. He's got many different poses that he does, but look at the scoreboard. 0-6, and he wins 7 out of the next 8 points.
And what points they were.
Doesn't miss by a lot, but a big point for Zhai here. He needed that for momentum. Remember, he's down in games. Record head-to-head does not favor him at all. So this will be a clutch game. Doesn't miss by a lot, but I like how Zhai throughout this point was repositioning himself to move in closer to find those angles and put more pressure on Schmidberger.
Yeah, and he moved Schmidberger wide to the forehand. From that position, Schmidberger wasn't able to come back into his original pose, but still, yeah, it was enough.
From 0-6 down, he has 2 game points. The world number 2, Thomas Schmidberger. Still fighting, saving a game point. Zhai does not want to have done the first half of this game in vain. It off the top of the net, but the touch too good.
And that's really clever. Very short to the forehand, very long into deep backhand.
Clever combination here as well. Short serve and then deep to the backhand to test the mobility of the opponent. Rush him into getting back. Game point Schmidberger. And a bit off the top of the net. Acknowledges the fortune and then quickly celebrates and gets back to the corner. A 2-0 lead. Quite a comeback here from Schmidberger.
Yeah, that was really well played, and what rallies it was. It's not like Zhai completely let it go and made it easy for him to turn this around.
Yeah, Zhai's definitely shown that he's here to play and he's not going to be easy to get through. So 12-10, a victory once again in a 2-0 lead. It's all up to Xiang now. Can his teammates will him through? Or will world number 2 seal the deal and take the gold medal with the 3rd game coming right up? Back for game number 3. It could be the last game of this event. If Germany's Thomas Schmidberger takes it, Xiang fighting to keep the hopes alive for the Chinese team. He went for the backhand once again, as wide as that shot was. The one before, he played back quickly with the pips.
Zhai avoiding this forehand ground that Schmidberger takes with his backhand. Oof.
A lot of defense there, but the last one, the pressure that he had worked to put on just kept building, creating more and more space and time. Zhai takes that point.
So much pressure with the pips on the last 2 shots in the rally. And once again, with the pips deep, deep into the backhand.
This was caught in between. A tetra will be right behind the net, so it's out of reach or comes back over. But when it's lobbed, if it's not right at the baseline to be really uncomfortable, it's just too comfortable of a shot for the forehand of Zhai. In terms of body language, it feels like Schmidberger's in serious trouble, but score-wise, he's come back from more than this before. It's a good recovery off the top of the net, but following that, Zhai keeps it right in the middle. So first towel break. Again, towel breaks come up every 6 points. Not mandatory, simply allowed so that players don't stall too much.
Yeah, but Schmidberger will be happy to take this time.
That defense is so solid. Again, two very different shots. When he hits it with the red side of the racket, Zhai, it's more defensive, backspin. Now a term if you're trying to bluff your way into table tennis and you want to impress your friends, a twiddle. Twiddling the racket is when you turn it 180 degrees to put one rubber on the opposite side of where it started. Watch this. That was the twiddle. Nice combination here. He twiddles to play a spinny serve with the black side of the racket and then follows up by putting it on his forehand again and going out wide to control with the spin, 8 points to 1. A bit of fortune here, break off the top of the net, and it stays out of reach for Schmidberger. This is a really long way to go in this game.
It's not like we haven't seen it before, but it's difficult if you have to be catching up all the time throughout the game.
Solid defense, but right back in position. Schmidberger there to finish the point. 4 points between them now. Suddenly, this seems dangerously close, especially considering their history in game 2. Spinny serve from the backhand to come. Not a typical point, but a point much needed for Zhai, who sets himself up with a 5-point lead. Once again. And now 6 game points to get his first game on the scoreboard in a match that could continue quite some time. And it would only get more suspenseful and exciting as it goes, but it's game to Zhai, 11-4. The match continues. China's Zhai Xiang keeps hopes alive, getting his first game. He's down 1-2. It's up to Schmidberger here. Can he win it in the 4th? Or will it come down to the decider of the decider? We shall see. Stay right here. Players back to the table. Game 4, Schmidberger up 2-1.
What a marathon of this match and the entire China-Germany match overall. Not to mention this rally.
Yeah, the types of points they're having. I mean, we saw a 44-stroke rally in game number 3. Deep on the table, Zhai, perfect placement here. And he continues his streak. He dominates in game number 3, 11-4, and gets the first 2 points here. That first rally was 29 shots. I mean, we've seen matches where the average rally was 4 shots. Think about how much concentration with the spins and the depths and the angles different for every shot.
And when that just goes on and on and on for 4 games.
Yeah, that really is quite taxing on the brain. It just makes you so tense. But right now looking quite loose. Zhai Xiang, not a point dropped. Now, if he comes back sending this to game number 5, the decider, he's going to have a lot of confidence, a lot of momentum. The same cannot necessarily be said for Schmidberger, despite their history head-to-head.
Not at all. He was 2 love up. Just a tiny too slow, or too fast even.
Definitely too something, no question about it.
Wrong timing in each case. Much better here.
What happened to the wheelchair? Did he just do a front wheelie?
Yeah, I think that was it.
I would love to, check out, just watch the wheels. Just the wheels.
Yeah, there it is.
Completely, both of the big ones off the ground.
Well, the players are not allowed to move their bottom from the cushion, but nowhere does it say that the back wheels have to stay on the floor.
And a timeout called now. I mean, that's knowing the rules well. It's amazing. You see this in all sports where somebody, say in basketball's diving out of bounds and throws it at the heels of the opponent, or when someone's not looking and they throw it in at their back. That's clever. What he just did saved himself getting called for leaving the seat, because he didn't leave the seat.
No, of course not. And he has his feet striped to the wheelchair for such occasions as well.
I mean, that's the first time. I've been watching for about 2 weeks straight wheelchair events here in Paralympics, which is getting me more and more into it. I can really appreciate it, but that's the first time that I've seen anybody go onto the small wheels exclusively for a shot.
6-4.
So 2 points between them now. The pressure really building on Xiang. But a good serve right out of the timeout. Nice change-up. Serve spinny and long to the backhand. 2 backhand service points in a row. Different placement, fast and long. This is tough. Schmidberger down by 4.
Zhai is the one who needs this game.
It's crazy to me that he can cover the entire table with the backhand. This one goes just long. Zhai now with a ginormous lead. 6 game points to send it to the decider of the decider. Perfect tetra shot. That was crazy. A drop shot. I mean, how can you do this? Just how?
This is all about timing, because when you loosen the racket from your grip as much as he does and just throw yourself onto the ball, there's nothing you can do to change position or the angle on the racket or in your wrist after you've gone for it, and so that's just perfect timing.
And he did have a little bit of the net in it as well to slow it down, but he really, since that timeout, turned things around, cut off the comeback. Schmidberger was on a bit of a break there, but the last 2 games, Zhai has been on fire. 11-4, nearly triple the points of his opponent. I mean, and still, I've talked about it several times, but when he pulls the backhand, the pips on his backhand side out to the forehand side of the table, I mean, he's covered almost the very corner of the table with those pips.
Yeah, and that's a very difficult position to control the backhand from. So very impressive.
Indeed. The world number 6, the underdog here at 28 years old, playing against world number 2, Xiang, on a roll right now. And he continues rolling along with the momentum here. This is the situation we discussed. It would be very challenging for Schmidberger to gain confidence and get back into this. That was outstanding. I mean, everything that he put into the shot before should have been enough to win it, but Zhai brings it back for one more, and miraculously, he gets his balance back and is able to punch that finisher.
Yeah, good for him that he did, because otherwise you can come to the point when you're thinking, what else can I do, or what else should I do? Everything's just coming back.
This is, again, the sprint at the end of the marathon here. Both players really just upping their game. That was a big point. You haven't heard much from Xiang throughout. Again, no matter what country you're from, no matter what team you play for, no matter what culture you come from, everybody's an individual. And he has been a very quiet player. But he's got the team behind him now, and that was a massive point to gain the lead back to 2 points.
Yeah, so far onto his forehand side with this backhand. That's this shot. The Schmidberger just can't get away from the pimpled rubber.
We've got the timeout now. I mean, that was a big part of what it was. When he spins it, he has so much lift. If you've never played table tennis before against, I mean, almost everybody's played some ping pong in their life. But the big complaint is, you know, I won't play with my cousin. He plays with spin. That's not fair. Well, once you learn it, not only is it fair, it's the most fun part of the game, but the amount of spin that comes back off those pips when Schmidberger attacks, I mean, this is why it's so mentally stimulating and keeps you so sharp. You just have so much to process in such a short amount of time. Especially for these guys, I mean, they're right next to the table, low and right at the baseline.
Well, Schmidberger now got his last 1 minute to process what's going on at the table.
We'll see how it's used. He only used 30 seconds of it.
This is so interesting because Zhai at the first part of this rally, instead of going deep onto his forehand side with the backhand, was doing just the opposite.
Right, I was
going
thinking.
deep into the middle with his forehand.
Right, he hadn't played one shot off the pips until the last 2 shots after about 5 or 6 shots, only using the inverted forehand side of the racket. What a confusing way to come back for your opponent's timeout.
Switch of the sides after the 5th point 1 by Zhai in this case.
I mean, Zhai is so stable right now in defense, but also using the pips aggressively to put the pressure on. Schmidberger is having trouble finding answers.
And now it's just about that mental strength, if he can bring it to the end. Because the advantage is there, but you can quickly lose it if you're not keeping up with the same pressure put on the opponent.
Zhai is so patient and so calm in this. I mean, Schmidberger fooled me a few times hitting it to the wide forehand, and Zhai was right there. He hadn't committed. He hadn't gone back too much, just very patient play.
He's so much better off when he's using the pimpled rubber as much as he can.
Well, he's got a 5-point lead now, 3 points away. Zhai is on fire here. This is potentially a crazy upset.
And heartbreaking for Schmidberger.
At the same time for the Chinese team, he could be the hero of the day. Not expected to win this, Xiang. And he's sitting on 7 gold medal points. You're absolutely right. The emotion, you can only imagine considering their head-to-head. A long, long way to go, but a little bit of encouragement here from Thomas Schmidberger. Chinese team trying to pump up their player. And there it is! Xiang takes it! He does the unthinkable! 1 and 5 with less than 20% by a long shot here. Xiang pulls off an unthinkable performance. World number 6 over world number 2. This was so clutch.
Yeah, this is gonna be the hero for China today. And one of those rare cases in the team event we saw where the doubles turned out not to be the deciding match.
It's so interesting. Again, in table tennis, it's incredibly rare that China is not the favorite to win. But coming into the third match, there is no doubt about it. Germany was the expected winner here, so this is a real hero story for the Chinese player Xiang. 28 years old, and he did the unthinkable. He never gave up. He came back from down 0-2, not allowing more than 4 points for his opponent. And you can understand the agony here.
The other side, this is something that's difficult to digest. The physiotherapist, and they all know how much Schmidberger wanted that gold, and what a great opportunity this was after the Germans won the double.
And the yin and the yang here, tears of joy on the other side. Oh man, this is a moment here. Tears of joy, and he comes over to hug. He knows what it's like. This is a very touching moment.
Such rivals and so much agony caused by Feng to Schmidberger, but today, comforting him.
Wow, the tears on all sides for the Chinese. And look at this. Man, has it been an emotional week or what?
Yeah, both crying now. One of joy, the other from disappointment.
I have to say, the amount of heart that I've seen at the Paralympics in the last 2 weeks, whew, I think it's more than I've seen in anywhere in this sport.
Yeah, this is where emotions run the highest, and it's just these moments when it's so close and you can't keep it in yourself anymore.
I think this paints the most beautiful picture. I know the Chinese work incredibly hard to be the best in the game at table tennis. And sometimes we hear the word machines because they don't miss much, because they're so well practiced. But the emotions and the empathy that were displayed by the players to come over and hug, not just to say good game, but to really hug Schmidberger after that, shows a lot of heart, a lot of character, and the human side of these incredible athletes. You're watching Tokyo 2020.